February 11th, 2026, City of Pocatello Planning and Zoning Commission. A meeting was held at 5:15 for clarification of the agenda items. Aislinn, will you call the roll call, or will you call the roll, please?
Jessica Buckley.
Here.
Benjamin Gomez.
Here.
Adam Geyer.
Here.
Rhonda Park.
Here.
Andy Mendoza.
Here.
Richard Phillips.
Present.
Desiree Valadolo.
Here.
Thank you. Does anyone have any conflict of interest or ex parte contact to report?
Nope.
Great. I would invite everyone at this time to please silence their cell phones. Agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. The commission may wish to approve the minutes from the clarification of regular meetings held January 14th, 2026. Is there any discussion by the commission on the January 14th, 2026 meeting minutes? With no further discussion, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes from January 14th, 2026.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Buckley and a second by Geyer. Aislinn, will you call the vote, please?
Buckley.
Yes.
Geyer.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Valadolo.
Yes.
We'll now explain the public hearing procedures. The application presentation is limited to 10 minutes. There is a 3-minute limit on public testimony. Those presenting or testifying will state your name for the record. While giving testimony, questions and comments should be pertinent to the application and should be addressed only to the commission. During the public hearing, there should be no questions, comments, or applause from the audience. Should the meeting go longer than 8 p.m., the commission may take a scheduled 10-minute break. Commission members must make their decision regarding the application on facts already in the record and information presented during the public hearing. Protocol requires the commission members and audience be recognized by the commission chair prior to speaking. Tonight, we'll start with agenda item number 3, which is a public hearing for a map amendment rezone. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a map amendment rezone request by Gate City Builders, represented by David Hassan, to rezone the property known as 3780 Philbin Road from light industrial to residential commercial professional. The future land use map shows the 2.12 acre property designated as mixed use, which matches the requested RCP zoning. I now declare the public hearing open, and I would like to invite the applicant to come to the podium.
Hi, council members. My name is Joshua Reg. I'm with Sunrise Engineering, Pocatello, Idaho. The staff report was pretty thorough on what we're kind of looking for. This is just for item 3, it's just a map amendment. So I guess I'm here to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Does the commission have any questions for the applicant? Okay, no questions. Thank you. Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commission members. Matthew Lewis, Senior Planner. As noted before you this evening is a request to amend the zoning of Lot 59, Block 1 of Breezy Commons townhouses from light industrial to residential commercial professional. The future land use map has the 2.12 acre parcel designated as mixed use, which is in line with the RCP zoning. The request will be followed by an application to amend a previously approved planning and development and preliminary plat requests. Notice was posted on the subject property January 26th of 2026, or 26th of 2026, and published in the Idaho State Journal on January 27th and 26th. Property owners within the 300-foot radius were also noticed. For the record, no written comments have been received by staff. In consideration of the application, staff concludes that the proposed zoning map amendment is compliant with Municipal Code Section 1702-170E. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Were there any public comments on this application?
There is not.
Okay, great. Any questions for staff? Okay.
Thank you.
Before starting public testimony, I would like to remind each person, when you come to the podium, you must state your name. Please remember to only address the commission, not the audience or the applicant or representative. You have 3 minutes to testify and will be asked to stop when time runs out. Keep questions and comments pertinent to the application. Do not duplicate questions, concerns, or comments covered by previous testimony heard today. With that, I'd like to invite anyone providing testimony in support of the application to come forward. Is there anyone here providing testimony uncommitted to the application who would like to testify? Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony opposing the application? Does the representative have any rebuttal? Okay. With no further testimony or rebuttal, I declare the public hearing closed. How does the commission wish to proceed? We'll entertain a motion or discussion.
I move to recommend approval of the zoning map amendment application from David, how do you say his last name? Hassan? On behalf of Gate City Builders LLC to rezone the subject property from light industrial to residential commercial professional. Finding the application meets the standards for approval under the section 17.02.170.e of Pocatello City Code and authorize the chair or vice chair to sign the findings and fact and recommendation.
I'll second.
I have a motion by McCarg and a second by Guyer. Aislinn, will you call the vote, please?
Carr,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Buckley,
Yes.
Gomez,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Valadolo.
Yes.
Carried.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a PUD application request by Gate City Builders, represented by David Hassan, to amend the PUD known as Breezy Commons Townhouses to construct 29 townhome multifamily units and small storage area for resident use within the common area. This property is known as 3780 Philbin Road. I'd like to invite the applicant forward.
Thank you again, council members. For agenda item number 4, again, the staff report was pretty thorough. We've had a lot of discussion with the planning and zoning department regarding the summary and conditions that would be required in this application, specifically, you know, the parking area being dedicated as open space, storage units only being of use to the residents of this development and the Breezy Commons Townhomes development, as well as any sort of landscape buffers that would be required. So we've had discussions with them, and in turn, we've had discussions with Gate City Builders, and we're all aware of everything that will be required there. So, yeah, I'm here to answer any other questions that you guys might have as well.
Great. Does council have any questions for the applicant? Representative? Is that, no questions? Okay. Okay, no questions. Thank you. Yep. Oh. Need to officially open the public hearing. You're okay. Thank you.
Again, good evening, Mr. Chair and Commission members. Matthew Lewis, Senior Planner with the city. As noted, the request before you is to amend the planning and development known as Breezy Commons Townhomes to allow construction of 29 townhomes / multifamily units. The proposal also calls for construction of 35 small storage units to be used only by the residents living in the Breezy Commons development. The original PUD encompassed 7.39 acres, more or less, consisting of 56 lot line townhome lots and 2 or 3 common lots, and details are provided in the attachment number 2 of the staff report if you'd like to look at that. The developer originally proposed to construct storage units as an amenity to be used only by the residents of Breezy Commons townhomes on Lot 59. The property owner is now desirous in reducing the amount of storage units in addition to allowing construction of the 29 multi-townhome-like units. Each will not be subdivided separately, so the difference between the ones that are in Breezy Common townhomes, you can actually go in and you can buy your own townhome. In this case, if there's 7 townhomes, multifamily-like townhomes that are on like Lot 1, Lot 2, Lot 3, Lot 4, then they would have to be sold as a unit. They couldn't be sold off separately. So it's very important to keep in mind. And it's also a condition that's within the staff report. So just for that. It should be noted that there are 2 waivers that are needed as part of the PUD application. Said waivers include a requirement that all portions of the building be retained on its individual lots or setbacks, and a request to waive the minimum setback requirements of the RH/RCP zoning district. Staff recommends approval of such, and this is reflected under condition number 3. All noticing requirements for the application have been met with no written comments received by staff. In consideration of the application and proposed development, staff concludes that the planning and development request is compliant with municipal code section 1702-140, provided that all recommended conditions are met as provided in the staff report. And this concludes my presentation. Commission, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you.
Thanks, Matt. Do we have any questions for city staff?
I do. Can you go back and revisit the whole portion about increments of 7, those townhomes, and how they need to be sold as a unit together?
Yeah, so I guess the only, to give you an idea of I think their concept, if you've seen kind of the tiny homes that they're building on Jefferson, I think that's the concept that they want to have. That's an example of, like, those cannot be sold off separately either. They're more like garden patio type homes, but they're really multifamily. And so that's what they would be connected to one another, but they wouldn't be able to be sold off separately. So lot 1, if there were 7, say, multifamily townhome-like buildings on there, they would have to be sold off in their entirety. They would not be able, they couldn't be sold off separately under our code. So hopefully that gives a little bit of clarification in terms of what that may look like.
So just a distinction between that and something as simple as the Pheasant Ridge, where they have 4 in townhomes in one building.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Pheasant Ridge, which is in Chubbuck, I believe, is I think that it's the same concept. I think that they can either purchase them. Well, one that would be a better example would be like Mountain West off of Hawthorne over by Home Depot. Those are capable of being sold off separately. The ones that they're building now are very similar to the concept that they have with this one, where there may be 4 together, but they would not be sold off separately. They would be 4 together and sold off as one. So
So you buy the lot, not.
By the
property.
lot,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
with the
Whatever's
structure
lot,
on it. Yeah,
however they-
yeah.
How does that relate to like the storage unit though?
So the storage units are, again, those are only going to be, and it's on a separate lot.
Okay.
And they reduced them down, I forget what they may have been before, but they're proposing 35 and they're smaller units. And they would only be used by the residents that are within Breezy Commons townhouses, including on this lot. So it's not open to the general public, like you or I couldn't go in and say, hey, I want to rent a storage unit. They're specifically for the residents of that development.
So you can sell the set of 4, but the storage unit's owned by somebody else?
No, you wouldn't be able to sell off those separately because it's an amenity. It's
Yeah.
part of the PUD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be able to sell off, they would basically rent them.
Yeah,
to-
that's what I,
yeah.
yeah, so that would stay with whoever owns the development?
Yeah, you would not be able to come in and say, hey, I want to buy just those storage units. They have to be tied to the development in the PUD.
What you're saying is that the PUD calls that out, meaning
Yeah.
we don't have to add any conclusions. It's
No, it
just
should be,
PUD, yeah.
it should be covered pretty well
Great.
as far as the conditions in the PUD,
Great.
so,
Any other questions for staff?
thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, is there anyone here tonight who would like to provide testimony in support of the application? Is there anyone here tonight who would like to provide testimony uncommitted to the application? Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony opposing the application? Does a representative have any rebuttal?
No rebuttal per se, but I guess with Matt's comments, if there's any other questions that I can help answer as well, I can do so.
Questions?
Just to clarify, it's just being developed as a rental complex, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And similar to size of those ones on Jefferson, where you would obviously want to have the amenity of the storage unit?
Yeah, I think the most, like Matt said, the most comparable is the size of the Jefferson, where they're not going to be a whole lot of space inside of them. So the storage units will hopefully help
Yeah.
give another avenue for them for
Yeah.
storage purposes. So,
Are the storage units assigned to each?
no, from my understanding, they'll be kind of, they'll be able to be rented by the residents. So if some residents, they may not want them as they move in, but if they do, the storage units will be there that they can sign a rental agreement and rent out the individual units, whatever one it would be.
Because it looked like they're different sizes, so like they could choose to rent. a
So that there
different
are,
unit
yeah. If you
based
look
on
at,
different
on the
sizes.
preliminary plat inside the submittal package, you'll see the sizes as they change. I don't know the exact number of how much is each, but I know that the sizes is there's 10 by 10s, 10 by 20s, and 10 by 25s, depending upon whatever they would need. Obviously, the 10 by 10s would be most cheap, and then you go up from there. And there's more 10 by 10s than the others, but
Right.
yeah, there will be a few different sizes of options for the residents, so.
Other questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
With no further testimony or rebuttal, I declare the public hearing closed. How does the commission wish to proceed?
A motion to recommend approval to amend Breezy Commons planned unit development recorded as 2211-544-6 from David Hassan on behalf of Gate City Builders LLC, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 17.02.140 of Pocatello Municipal Code, with the conditions of approval as stated in the staff report, and authorize the chair and or vice chair to sign the findings of fact.
Motion a second?
We have a motion by Gomez and a second by Buckley and McCarr. Aislinn, will you call the vote, please?
Close.
Yes.
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 Yes. Phillips,
Yes.
Valenzola.
Yes.
Thank you. We will now hear agenda item number 5, preliminary plat replat. The time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a preliminary plat application request by Gate City Builders, represented by David Hassan, to replat Breezy Commons townhouses and subdivide 2.12 acres of land into 7 mixed-use lots. The property is known as 3780 Philbin Road. I declare the public hearing open and invite the applicant to come forward.
Thank you again, council. It's me again. We are aware with all the summaries and conditions that were outlined in the staff report for the preliminary plat. As I said, this used to be, was lot 59 in the Breezy Commons Townhomes plat. But with this preliminary plat, it'll be divided into 7 areas. Lots 1 through 4 will be where the units reside. Lots 1 through 3 will have 7, lot 4 will have 8 of them on it, which then totals, the 29 total. I believe lot 5 will be the storage units. Lot 6, on lot 6 there will be, that's where the office will be, and the maintenance shop for the storage units will reside on lot 6, and then 7 will be the open area. And so, and again, as Matt said in the previous, that the townhomes will not be sold off individually. We're aware of that, and that they'll be sold off. You'll be buying the land, 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything that comes on that. The 7 or 8 units will then be transferred to that owner under one ownership, but they'll all stay together as they transfer. So, any questions that you guys might have?
Questions for the applicant, representative? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commission members, I think we have a pretty good handle on the lots, so won't go over that. I will mention, though, that of the 2.12 acres, 1.55 acres of that is open space. So most of that encompasses the lateral. There's a canal lateral there that will provide a pretty good buffer to the west, and then any of the parking area would also be part of that open space. Just for purposes of letting the commission know that all the property owners within 300-foot radius were informed of the public hearing by mail. There's also notice in the paper and also a sign placed on the property. No written comments have been received by staff to date. Staff concludes that the proposed preliminary plat is compliant with City Code Chapter 1620.050 with the conditions as outlined in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation.
Great. Are there any questions for city staff? Just to verify what I'm sure I heard you say, there were no written public comments.
No written
submitted.
comments.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here tonight who'd like to provide testimony in support of the application? Is there anyone here tonight who would like to provide testimony uncommitted to the application?
I'm not sure. I'm Kathy McPherson. I live next door to Breezy Commons, 3770 Philbin. I just had a couple of questions. Two of the issues that I have seen within this complex at this point is that there is a lot more traffic into this area, And I don't know if there's any way at this point, probably not, of perhaps making a right-hand turn entrance lane into the area to allow heavy traffic, because there's a number of trucks and people going to school. I mean, the traffic on that street is awful. To allow people to pass while they're coming and going into the lot. I don't know if that is anything that can be done. The second issue that I have is that the trash cans are always full within there. I don't know how the trash pickup, where this is a private lot, how the accommodations for trash pickup is within this particular complex is scheduled to be, but I see that there's a larger need for storage of trash. And the third issue that I have is that the address of 3780 is very large. And I probably 7 to 10 days a week, 7 to 10 days a month, have people, things dropped off at my doorstep, you know, for UPS, for the mail, for other things, because 3780 is huge and 3770 is just one place. And so if there's some way of making those addresses individual, 3781, you know, or -2 or something of like that, so they know where to drop it off, that would be easier for us, because I'm forever dropping off things. Other than that, I don't have any major concerns, other than I am concerned about the irrigation ditch and who will maintain that side of the irrigation ditch. For the O'Leary Canal, we maintain our side of the O'Leary Canal, and I don't know if that's part of their preview. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else who'd like to provide testimony uncommitted to the application? Is there anyone here tonight who'd like to provide testimony opposing the application? Does a representative wish have any rebuttal?
Thank you, commissioners. And to hopefully answer a few of those questions. The one that I'm aware that we have control over is the trash. In the new Breezy Commons Division 2, there will be 2 trash bins, one on the to the west of Lot 1 and then another one to the east of Lot 5. It'll be a double concrete dumpster pad. And so I can't speak to the trash, I guess, of the Breezy Commons townhomes or the traffic in the turn lane. I do know that when you come in, obviously, that all becomes private, and we've tried to help traffic flow through there, so that way inside the unit, won't be any hookups, I guess. But yeah, I guess, and I can help answer any other questions that might have arose.
Questions?
So how many you just have one industrial-sized trash can there for these?
It'll be I believe and this is from my understanding, it's according to the city code, I think we will reference I think it's a double, I believe. So it's like a 10 by 20. So I think that there's, and hope maybe Matt can help with what exactly the code is, but I believe that there'd be 2 dumpsters inside that concrete dumpster pad.
Which is sufficient for all the
Which
residents?
should be, and that will then include with the 2 on both sides, there should be enough for all the residents. There should be 4. So it's similar to other ones that we've done and have seemed to work. So
Yeah. Yeah, to be clear, that's a code issue and not a development issue. So as long as they're meeting the standards, the
yeah, and
codes, then yeah.
we've called out codes in our plans. That's what they should adhere to. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Other questions for the applicant and representative? Okay, thank you. Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. How does the commission wish to proceed? I would entertain discussion. I don't know if there's, anyone has any questions?
I guess I have another question to circle back to address one of her concerns. for the city. Did we do a traffic study to facilitate more residents? Because that is a congested area, especially with the charter schools out there and.
Good evening, Tom Kirkman, Public Works. So we have breakpoints built into the code. So when over 100 peak hour trips come in, that's what triggers the traffic study. At this point, we don't think it meets that mark. But that's something that we put in our Public Works memorandum to analyze before it's recorded. As far as the turn lane on Philbin, I don't believe there's adequate right-of-way there to accomplish that if that was deemed necessary. So that would be kind of a difficult path. I can speak on the dumpsters as well, that we do have calculations that we determine how many units requires how many dumpsters. So I hope that answered your question.
So just to be clear, so a traffic study has not been done because it hasn't met that threshold.
That's
But
correct.
based on these new developments that are being constructed or proposed to be constructed, there will be one done.
It may. We're gonna have to, as we move through the process, we'll have to look at what the peak hour trips are and see if it triggers that. I don't think it triggers it right now, but it still needs to be evaluated a little deeper.
Can I ask a clarification on that then? So, because I was reading the staff comment, how you said it wasn't triggered because there's not been 100 peak hour trips. What is that based off of? Like, how
So
do you,
That's a calculation based on the unit numbers by the amount of people on the domicile and then how many, it's just a kind of a math equation that you run based upon the units. So it would take into account all of the units in the development.
and it's only taking into account those units in the current subdivision, but not the neighboring subdivision added together?
Correct.
Is it because they have separate entrances? Is that
Correct.
why? Okay.
So theoretically, if it were brought to your attention after they were built, that it, like, could she request it at a later time that a study be done? After it's, like, tenants had moved in and everything?
No. Like I said, if it doesn't trigger that 100 trips per hour, then we wouldn't require that of them.
So what triggers that though? Are you clocking it by the cross path of that light on that
What
intersection?
would trigger that is basically we would get with the engineering group and get their numbers, and then we would see if it meets that 100 peak hour trips.
Right, I'm just asking though how they're measuring, like what to the numbers. Are they just going out there and manually counting how many
No,
cars go
it's
through
a
at 8
formula
a.m.?
that we use based upon how many people are in the development, and then there's formulas for how many trips a day you make. And so then we put it in the peak hour when the traffic's at the peak on Philbin to make sure that everything plays nice.
I don't know, I think to me, it seems like there should be the traffic study imposed because the last thing we need is more congestion on a busy road like that, especially where that road facilitates a couple of schools.
Yeah, so you're not having necessarily just residents, it's like,
I mean, I've boogied down that road to try to get to personal appointments, and it's pretty congested as it is, just to even get around that.
Yeah, we put it in the memo so we can work with the designers on that.
I think I'd feel more comfortable with that being a condition in there
Running a whole traffic study?
for this new development, yeah.
How far apart are those entrances between the two, the proposed new development and the other development? Is there any sort of, because they're separate, you don't even consider the fact that they're very close in proximity?
Yeah, the amount of entrants play into that calculation as well, but basically it's for this section of the subdivision.
And I understand that this is localized just to this subdivision, but it does impact the traffic that's facilitated around it as well.
Understood.
So that's just my concern. Yeah.
There's only one entrance, correct? In and out, and it's off of Philbin? Like, there's not an exit off of, what is that cottage
One I
that's
can't answer, sorry.
close by? Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions?
Any other questions Public Works. Hey, Tom, I have a question because it's come up. Can you walk us through the impact on a developer that a traffic impact study would have?
So, based upon these trigger points, it probably wouldn't require a full study, but it would require an analysis. They are costly to perform. The analysis are cheaper, but it's still not cheap.
Who pays for that? Sorry. The developer does.
Developer does. The city has codes which dictate when it's time to put in a traffic light or a stop sign or whatever that is. If we were close to that, based on the size of the development that they've already looked at, that would have already been called out. So to do that, the city's already looked at this and determined that it's not necessary. I do feel like we're placing an undue burden on a developer if the city's already looked at it and said this doesn't need to happen. I understand what Desi is saying is that it is congested through there because that was a rural road that is now turned into a different type of zoning. I don't know how we go back and correct that, but I think what the city is saying in their staff report is we've looked at it, we've looked at what's there currently, we looked at what's being proposed, and we don't feel the need based on those numbers to perform a traffic study because we're not getting close to that threshold that would ask for a traffic study. Is that correct, Tom? Is that?
And
your
with the
position?
memo, that gives us a little flexibility to meet with the developer to make sure and match our numbers with them.
Now, I would imagine that in phase 3 or phase 4 or a new development that's within a half mile of this, we probably might start bumping up against those thresholds and numbers, and those developers will have to
That's
shoulder
correct.
that burden.
We
when
don't
get
feel
there.
we're at the 100
Yeah, but
trips, peak hour trips yet.
But these numbers we're talking about have already been analyzed by the staff. We've already decided that it's not close. And I would feel bad asking the developers, based on our interpretation of what it's like to drive through there, to pay for that because city staff has already determined that it's not necessary.
What's the margin for close?
Our street superintendent performs those numbers. I don't have that with me, but.
I mean, that's just something I'm curious about, again, just because if you have ever gone through that area at 8 a.m. or at 2 o'clock, it's the worst place to be, almost worse than Yellowstone.
Connor makes it very hard. The school right there makes it very hard to get up.
And I know plenty of people who send their kids out to those schools, and then you put in a bunch of rentals. And I'm just thinking, I don't know.
But to clarify, the peak hour trips is only based on
Certain times of
who
the day.
lives in the houses in that area.
So
not
it's
the
like
traffic
residential
that is
versus the
because
school.
of schools and things, right?
It's a pretty complicated analysis to do.
But a traffic analysis study wouldn't necessarily pull the school into that based on the proximity and everything
I
else.
doubt
We're
it.
not-
I
It's not
think
gonna,
the school's far enough out of
Yeah,
there,
we're not gonna-
the impact.
So does it just consider what, 8 to 5?
Yeah, it'll, like part of the analysis, we'll put tube counters out, or, we would put tube counters out to get the volume of traffic going on Philbin and on Quinn. And then we would start counting units and trips coming out of that and then compare those against each other. Preliminarily, we've done that and we don't feel it's necessary.
It does say in your memo that prior to the approval, so is that this right here? The applicant shall provide a traffic impact analysis if the cumulative number of dwelling units proposed for the development, including all previously approved phases, meets or exceeds the unit thresholds requiring a traffic impact analysis. So this is from the 3rd. So that means that basically after we approve this, there's no necessary traffic analysis, because you guys have already determined that you don't need
I
one.
think there's still an option to amend that, I believe.
Okay,
It's
if anything,
recorded.
if anything changes about the development.
Correct. Is that right, Matt? Throwing it out.
Do you want me to repeat? Do you want me to repeat it? Oh, okay.
Well, I understand my fellow commission members' idea that, hey, bringing in this 29-unit development is going to impact the traffic on this road. I think it's clear that there are many people from around our community that are also on this road. So it's not just going to be those cars from the 29 additional units, nor can we put the burden on creating some sort of new development for this developer to take care of the traffic that really isn't their responsibility, because it's not just, it's city traffic. It's people driving around our community, using all those amenities, sending their children to school, traveling to different homes. So while the traffic is a problem, it's not a problem because of this development, nor will this development impact it in any probably greater number than, you know, the 50,000 community members that probably already travel that road weekly as it is. So I think we should move to approve this as written. I'd like to make a motion to approve the preliminary plat application request by David Hassan on behalf of the property owners Gate City Builders LLC for a replat of Lot 59, Block 1, Breezy Commons, Division 2, finding that the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of Pocatello Municipal Code with the conditions listed on the staff report, and authorize the chair or vice chair to sign the findings of fact and decision.
I'll second.
A motion made by Gomez and a second by Guyer. Aislinn, can you call the vote?
Gomez,
Yes.
Dyer,
Yes.
Buckley,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Valadolo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That's our meeting.